Hi, I'm Jason Walcott, and this is Walcott Fine Art. In today's video, we're going to explore a little bit of an obscure medium that often you don't hear much about, and that is gouache. I'll explain what gouache is and why you might want to give it a try. So, let's have a closer look at gouache. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, everyone. I'm glad you're with me today. So as I mentioned in the introduction, I am going to show you some little demos with this gouache. And basically what gouache is opaque watercolor. And I've played around with a bunch of different brands just to test them and see. And to me, the best one, hands down, is the Winsor Newton Designer's Gouache. Now, I'm sure other people have their favorites, and that's great. But if you've never tried it before and you want to try gouache, then I recommend getting this brand. Don't bother with the cheaper student grade ones. You'll just you won't have a good experience with those. So just buy a few tubes of the Winsor Newton Designer's Gouache if you wanna. Now, I'm not being reimbursed to promote this or anything. It's just my opinion, but it happens to be the one that I found that I like the best. And so, like what I said, basically what gouache is it's just opaque watercolor. But the interesting thing about it that I've noticed is a lot of demos that you see on YouTube. The person will use gouache, but then they'll kind of use it more like watercolor. And so I just wanted to show you what this stuff does. Now, I'm not real experienced with this myself. I'm still learning this water media because I've always been an oil painter. But if you squeeze some out, and I've got some water here, you can thin it way down like this and use it like watercolor. But the thing about gouache that makes it interesting is that it's meant to be opaque. So you can actually squeeze it out. So I grabbed this bigger tube of white here. So you can actually squeeze this out on your palette as it comes out of the tube. And the thing about this stuff that makes it interesting is that you can actually use it the way you would use oil paint. So even though it's a water-based media, you can see you can get those thick sort of oil paint-like strokes to it. And that's what's really interesting about it, is it's kind of almost like the best of both worlds. And so if you were to let that dry, then you could paint right over top of it, as long as you didn't move it around and grind it around too much. You could potentially paint right over top of that the way you layer in oil painting. But because it's water media, you don't have to mess with like the thinners and all this stuff, and it dries. There will be some color shift with gouache as it dries, just like watercolor and acrylic, which you don't get with oil paint, but it has a very pleasing, sort of interesting texture and look to it. The surface dries very matte, and you can combine the two. So like, let's say this area where I put down the watercolor earlier here is kind of dried. If I wanted to, now I can get get some of this opaque color here with the white that I mixed, and I can paint over top of that. And, you know, just the way you would with an oil painting. And so that makes, it's a very interesting media that kind of straddles those two different qualities. And like I said, you can also, you know, that's what makes it sort of versatile, is you can, if you want, thin it down a lot and then use it the way you would use watercolor, you know, like that kind of thing. So, and then combine that with opaque, you know, opaque textures and opaque strokes if you mix it with the white and keep it much thicker. And the thing about the Winsor Newton Designer's Gouache is they don't put any artificial opacifiers in it to make it opaque. They basically just pack it with so much pigment that it becomes opaque. And so that makes the colors in the Designer's Gouache from Winsor Newton a little bit nicer. And they tend not to, because some of the cheaper brands of gouache, you'll get like the filler will kind of float to the surface, and it'll make your mixtures look a little weird, and you don't get that with this. So I recommend the Winsor Newton if you want to try it. But it's just a very interesting media because it has that ability to be both opaque and transparent, you know, and you can thin it down with just a tiny little bit of water and then use it, you know, use it like an oil paint. So that makes it very, very versatile, and it gives it a very cool and pleasing look. So if you've never tried gouache, I recommend trying it. You might find that you like it. It's a unique medium, and you don't see it as often popped up. It doesn't pop up as often as a professional medium that people actually work in, but there are people that do, and you know, they produce beautiful work. So if you've never tried it before, give it a shot, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you for watching. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you won't miss the next video. And why not spread the joy? Be sure to share my videos on your favorite social media. Don't forget to head on over to my website, walcottfineart.com, where you can see my art, read my blog, or when you join my newsletter list, you can win free art. Every month, I'll choose a lucky winner for my email list, and that person will receive a mini original oil painting. There's a chance to win every month, so be sure to sign up today so you don't miss out. Plus, you'll get my fun newsletter. See you next time!